I just say it's not rocket science. We rock up and we ask what matters, what can we do, and how can we help?
Hello there, I'm Sarah McCluskey, and this is Research Adjacent. Each episode, I talk to amazing research adjacent professionals about what they do and why it makes a difference. Keep listening to find out why we think the research adjacent space is where the real magic happens. Before we get into today's episode, I just wanted to start by saying thank you. I've been really humbled by the response to the podcast so far, and it's been amazing to hear that it's resonated with so many of you. I particularly wanted to thank the people who've reached out to me, including Orla Kelly, Jenny Brady, Isla Foffa, Edwin Collier, Peter Barker, Ira Rowe, Rosie Pretorius and Sarah Ashworth. And if last week's episode made you want to know more about public involvement, then check out Shaping Our Lives, a non-profit, user-led organisation focusing on inclusive involvement. Thanks to Helen Buckley for letting me know about that one. Now, on to today's guest, Nina Ruddle. I first met Nina as part of the NCCPE Engage Academy, and I've been watching her work with quiet admiration ever since. She is a woman on a mission in more ways than one. Nina's first mission is that she leads the Wrexham Glyndŵr University's Civic Mission Partnership strategy. And as part of this work, she works in collaboration with communities, local and national government, public services and other organisations to understand how to make North Wales better and contribute to making it happen. Born and raised in North Wales herself, what really motivates Nina is making this area that she loves the best it can be for everyone. And this deep local knowledge and genuine connection to the people in place is evident in everything she does. As you'll hear from the interview, Nina gets things done, so much so that she's recently been named on the Future Generations Changemaker 100 list. You'll find her at number 78, which, as Nina pointed out herself, is one place above the actor Michael Sheen. That's the kind of company she's in. If you're one of those people who just wishes that everyone could work together, listen on and be inspired by how Nina does it. Welcome along, Nina. Thanks for joining us. I wonder if we could start by just asking you to tell us a little bit about what it is you do and how you got into doing that work.
Okay, hi Sarah, it's lovely to see you. What I do, that's a good question. I do a lot of stuff is what I generally say. My title is Head of Public Policy Engagement and I work at Wrexham Glyndŵr University in North East Wales. And I lead the Civic Mission Partnership strategy, and there's a big emphasis on the partnership because we have, over the last 5 years, been on a real journey of co-creating our civic mission that is really focused on the challenges within our communities and with our partners. And our civic mission is to end or tackle social inequality by the year 2030, which we absolutely acknowledge is a big, hairy, audacious goal that is, some people think is quite foolish and other people think is quite brave. And, and I am on the side of, we've got to really sort of understand the big root causes, challenges that we're facing and work together to understand them in order to create solutions together that are co-produced, that actually make North Wales a space and place for people to be happy, healthy, prosperous, and all the things that are really set out in Wales around the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act, because that's legislation that is internationally leading around sustainable development goals, and that's really at the heart of what we're doing. So I lead that, and underpinning that, there's 3 core areas. So we had conversations with lots of leaders, and we said, right, okay, so we think this is the challenge. Do you think? Yeah, absolutely. And we were also at the same time twin tracking it, like a layers of an onion, really, of talking to communities as well. So we were working in 3 communities about narratives and understanding what matters most within those narratives. And we decided there was it was a real collective approach, and in many conversations in cafes we hosted, which were safe spaces for leaders to come, around 3 core areas of our energy efforts and work, to focus on leadership and governance and whole systems working. So how we work to change the system, how we work looking left and right, not up and down in health or local authority, how we as a university step into that space to enable a whole systems way of thinking. Then we've also looked at building community resilience and understanding. Again, we started doing this work pre-COVID and during COVID and after, as all of us are working in those spaces. And then the final area is keeping well and being well. And we've really focused a number of projects and activities around those three core areas. And I keep saying our work is very emergent and organic, and we're unapologetic about that, because we are really... And the work we do is about enabling agility and responsiveness to what matters most. And actually, we need to then turn on the head of a pin and go and do this work together. Then we will make that happen. And I think the thing I always say is I rock up to meetings with loads of different partners across North Wales. And I always ask, what can we do? What matters most, rather than where's the money? Because it's just not at the heart of what we're about and what we do as a university and as a civic mission sort of approach. So, that's a very broad answer, hopefully, and a long one. So, that's in a nutshell what I do.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting and a really quite unique approach, I think, in university context. Are there any other universities that are doing anything similar, or quite unusual?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose some of the people listening to this may know that there's a UK-wide network of the UK Civic Mission Network. We've also got, and I'm vice chair of the Civic Mission Network for Wales. I think we are relatively unique, but again, I keep saying it's not rocket science. We just sort of, I am incredibly lucky at the university I work with. I think we're the joint top for social inclusion in the UK, which is something to be really proud of. And we have got a leadership team that really care about our civic mission and care about that anchor institution approach. And as a result of that, we really want to drive innovation and be at the heart of being useful to our partners, rather than and others do take different approaches and they're for different reasons, but I think we are relatively unique. And I think it comes from the leadership, it comes from the region of North Wales. We work collegiately, we work really strongly together as a region, I would say. We've also got a legislative framework with the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act, which is really pushing and driving innovation. And I think more importantly, we've got a real will to work in partnership and to do things differently. And I think and we take risks, which is always a good thing. But I think we are relatively unique, but that's a good thing to be celebrated. And it comes with challenges as well, because you just sometimes think, well, I share a lot of the stuff that we're doing with lots of forums, with the UK network, with and sometimes you can have that tumbleweed moment where I'll challenge and go, well, why are we not doing this? And if we're about future generations, that we need to be in the PSB space, which is the public service boards. And I'm from a different sector. I'm not from a HE sector. I've worked in a vast experience in different sectors, and collaboration is key to everything I've always done in my whole career. And it's not necessarily the default in HEIs where you collaborate immediately with other HEIs, because there's a competition element. So I think there's a real challenge there. So I think we are quite unique, but I just say it's not rocket science. We rock up and we ask what matters, what can we do, and how can we help? And it's just having reframing the challenges and having conversations that matter, and being in those spaces and actively listen with a bit of curiosity and humility, which is what we try and do.
Yeah, I think you've touched on some of the challenges there, and being a trailblazer is never, not always an easy path. What other sorts of things have you found difficult? There's the collaboration element.
I suppose I think the other challenge is we are a small, non-research intensive higher education institute. Again, that has huge benefits, because we can be, responsive and agile, and are seen to be doing so both across Wales and the UK. But it also comes with challenges. And when you're small, your resources are very finite, and you have to be very smart with how you deploy them. So there is the biggest challenge, I think, really is how, and I suppose how I've overcome it is I've worked with loads of partners, we've delivered projects, and they've been so successful, so had seeds that actually they've gone, let's do some more of it, here's some more money. So I've had pooled resources. So we've almost created a really collaborative, long-term thinking of approach that is built on trust, that they go, right, this is great, let's do some more, here's some money. And the challenge I've got is that I'm so small, and I've built a team and I've grown a team, but actually it's keeping pace with being responsive enough and not letting people down, which is a big part of building that trust and maintaining that trust. Is relationships are, all relationships go at the speed of the trust. And I think we've got a huge foundation. The challenge I've got is the work and projects have grown massively. We can do so much that actually the resource is the biggest thing that's really sort of hampering. And that's not, I don't mean like chuck loads of money, because actually that's sometimes quite difficult to spend, believe it or not, with all of it. It's more around like the resource and the systems within the organization to be really agile, to respond at the same pace that you do as an external sort of partnership sort of person. So that's a big challenge, but I'd say that's probably the biggest one I've got, really, and more trying to just harbour everything. And I look externally, whereas sometimes you need to look internally, but it's hard to do that as one person, to engage all of those areas of resource, which is more than just money. It's time, it's research, and we're not a research intensive university. We're absolutely building that profile, but that comes with challenges when the core business is teaching, learning and research. We're really good at teaching and learning, again, and the research bit is something we're growing and building strongly, but when you haven't got both of those, that's a challenge as well.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like a lot of juggling, lots of different things going on.
Yeah, indeed. As many of us probably have, I suspect.
I think, though, from what I know of you, you've done some amazing things, though. I wonder if you could tell us about some of the projects you're really proud of.
Oh gosh, there's a few, and I'd say there's something really joyous in the organicness of things, and my background is in sort of Welsh government, local government, real sort of regulatory sort of organisations, and actually working in university is really quite wonderful and liberating, and I've stepping into a space being apolitical to enable projects to happen and grow and go, you can't do that, you can't campaign or say that, but actually we can, because this is what we're about. So I think that the things I'm probably most proud of, actually, there's two things I'd like to say. There's loads of projects, and I could talk about loads of different projects, but I think the thing I'm most proud of is the people I work with and the partnerships we built are quite special, and I feel really privileged to be able to help support partners doing brilliant work in really tough circumstances through austerity and through everything else, COVID and the stuff we're trying to deal with now as well, cost of living and everything. Is we work really well in partnership, and I feel really proud and privileged to be able to play a part in enabling these partnerships to work and take it up a level to support partners. And I think one of the big areas I'm really proud of, I mean there's many of them really, I suppose, but is a recent development is the Wellbeing Future Generations Act. You need to do in Wales every 5 years. There's a public service boards are set up, and every 5 years they're partnerships of local authorities, health boards, fire and rescue, and invited partners. We're one of them, and I sit on and work with all of North Wales PSBs. Now, I planted seeds probably over a 5-year period of time working with the PSBs, because that's where I'd come from. So I understand how challenging it can be going, actually, as a university, we're about the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act. We should be in this space. And actually, if we work together across all of North Wales has got now 3 public service boards across East, Central and West. So it's in Anglesey, Gwynedd, Denbighshire and Conway, and Wrexham and Flintshire. So there's 6, covers about 750,000 people. And I was like, look, if we work together, the wellbeing assessments have to be done. But we know one of the biggest things that's been stripped out of local authorities and austerity is policy, research, capacity. And actually, that's the one thing as a university, we haven't got bucket loads of it, but we can step into that space and enable enable us to work together, both sharing resources, pooling resources, innovating in real big pockets, like planting really seeds of innovation, using little bits of funding to do really special things that we'd never be able to do normally. We could work regionally but still deliver locally. And we set about setting up as a partnership, and I was very much at the heart of enabling it, was a research and insight partnership, which we now call the Insight Partnership for North Wales. And, I think it's not perfect. It's definitely organic. We've got a real clear purpose now. One of the things we achieved on that was we secured, I worked with Wrexham County Borough Council and secured 5 years worth of support from the Co-Production Network for Wales. So we work in partnership with them. We've got about 40 members of the partnership now, which are, Audit Wales, Data Cymru. It's far broader than just the partners. And we're doing some amazing projects like we've set up 3 communities of practice. One's about systems change, which I lead. One is about engagement, and we've the Health Board have set up a regional engagement network. And one's about research, about how we use data and insight and the wellbeing assessments to drive wellbeing planning and to deliver projects that are co-produced with communities at the heart of it. Now, some of the really innovative, exciting pieces of work have been things like we have worked with 12 citizens across all of North Wales with Natural Resources Wales to say, help us analyse data, citizens. We value your input. We want your input. Here's some data packs. We worked with Natural Resources Wales. We did it over a 3-month period, and it was bringing real different insight, because when we analyse data in local authorities or any setting, it's from a lens of where you're from and can be quite skewed. And actually, if we bring analysis and understanding of data and what matters and value it, so we paid citizens. We had 3 workshops. We had 12 citizens, and it was about climate change from age 18 to 80, climate change deniers, from every protected characteristic. So it was a real slice of society in North Wales to go, help us understand this. And that was part of all the insight work that helped then create the wellbeing assessment. And then as a result of that, we've done things like gone into schools, and we're talking on a Futures Leaders programme with a pilot to get children and young people to understand the assessment. So in Wrexham, for example, how can we help children and young people thrive? What matters most to you? And we've gone in and we've said, here's the public service board. So all the partners came together. We worked with 20 to 30 children, young people. And we did loads of methods like a postcard from the future. What matters, what you like, what you wish, what all these different things. And we've said, this is a relationship that starts like you're planning the projects that will make a difference. So it was around football and, really the Christmas tree in Wrexham, which are really important things to people in our community. So we're doing some really small but brilliantly and beautiful projects that will actually drive and change the system. And the structure we've developed is definitely organic and moving and morphing. But that's part of the beauty of working in the way we do, that actually we're not so regulatory bounded by having to do things by certain times as a university. We can be very different in our approach and seed fund some of these things. And it's paying dividends, opened up so many different doors and opportunities. It's just joyous, but it's a very long answer. But yeah, there's lots.
That sounds absolutely brilliant. Some of these things, are they out in the public domain? Is there a website or something people could go and have a look at?
Yeah, so the work we've done, one of the other things that when you build that trust, one of the things is lots of partners come to me now and go, oh, can we do this research? Can we do that research? So that's where the Insight Partnerships being helpful to help connect that. But also we've got something called the North Wales Public Service Lab, which is about a space where we can bring together lots of partners, academics and everything to understand the challenges, but also create masterclasses, cafes that just bring intellectually in the physical space partners together. And we're developing this community of whole systems leaders, and we've got all sorts of work going on. But yes, it is in the public domain, and it's part of, I think it's called the Prosperous Places publication that the UKRI commissioned by Metro Dynamics, I think it was. And we were one of the case studies in there through saying, actually, we will listen to our communities. We created this partnership, and all these research opportunities have emerged from it, and actually all these projects have as well. So that was a snapshot in time. I think nothing static in this world. Yeah. I mean, literally the projects and the work I do will change from hour to hour, let alone day to day. Yeah. But there's a snapshot there with the UKRI Prosperous Places, so I can give you the link.
Yeah, we'll get a link and put it in the show notes. Fantastic. Yeah. It sounds like you mentioned it a little bit, that you haven't had your whole career in an academic space. So what was your career path into this, and how do you think that has influenced the way you approach the work you do now?
Yeah, I'm sort of I'm a geographer by background, civic design, and how I got into it's a really good question. I think it's more what motivates me as well. Your path sort of comes from what you care about and what makes you angry or sad. And I think I was the first member of my family to go to university, and I was from a particularly industrial town in northeast Wales, and it wasn't something people did. And I think having lived through the steel strikes, and overnight we were the biggest redundancy that Western Europe had ever seen in the 80s when I grew up. So I watched a lot of challenges, social deprivation, a town being destroyed really overnight, and I think university gave me that opportunity to have education, and that enlightenment it brings. And I think I've always been connected to social and economic regeneration together, and actually can't have one without the other. So I sort of navigated a path through social and economic regeneration. So I worked in local authorities, most local authorities across North Wales. I've worked in Welsh Government in procurement policy. I've worked at English Partnerships, which is the National Regeneration Agency around brownfield strategy. I led that for a while. And what else have I done? Yeah, and I worked with the Ambition Board in North Wales as well. So a lot of it's been about all of it, though. All the work I've ever done is about improving public services to help support people to live better, healthier and happier lives, be it through economic prosperity or social regeneration. So my background's local authority, Quango bodies. I've worked at university as well, but that was in Socrates Erasmus in Liverpool years and years ago. So I think it's all been grounded in actually what really motivates me is making North Wales the best it can be for everyone, because I think everybody deserves an opportunity and a chance in life to be fulfilled and happy and prosperous and as healthy as they can be. And I think that's the thing that gets me up every day. We're doing things around food poverty at the moment. We've got Children's University, which is about aspiration, that we're working in partnership with. So all these projects are all really connected to about that social inequality challenge. And I've been dead lucky that your sort of path navigates it. And I think if you stay true to your purpose and what makes you angry, what makes you sad, or because that gives you the motivation. And then I think I just found the path in going back into education. I've been in the university for 7 years, and my background originally was really restructuring sort of a School of Social and Life Sciences, but then I quickly found out actually I could bring all of this stuff to the university, because my networks were so extensive across Wales and at North Wales particularly. I just did some seed projects going, well, actually we could do this, and if I'm in this space we can do this, and all of a sudden you're like, well, actually this is a really brilliant opportunity. And at the same time, when I was doing this work and really testing some of these things and bringing it back to the Deaf Deprived, I started going, this is some really great stuff. The Civic Mission profile was really raising in Wales, and Kirsty Williams, the Education Minister, set up a real challenge. And I was like, right, the gauntlet's there now. So basically it was me on my own, and I created this whole sort of approach to civic mission that's really grown and emerged. And it's like a startup business in a way. It's been really hard to get off the ground. Now it's almost so big I can't keep control of it. But I think convoluted, but always connected to. And I'm really wedded and rooted in North Wales. I'm from here. I've lived here, and I know it inside out. And I think it just feels quite special and quite privileged to bring your skills and strengths to bear in a space that you care about passionately as well.
I think from what I've seen, you are quite special. The stuff that you do and the approach that you've got, just it's really inspiring. Yeah, brilliant. So one of my favourite questions to ask people is, if you had a magic wand and an unlimited budget, what would you do, or what would you change in the area that you work in?
Oh my goodness. Ooh, I might add two things. I think, unlimited resources, the sort of like $1 million literally question, isn't it? Or pounds. I think I would create a very big team to do more of the work we're doing. And that's not saying what we're doing is perfect, because it's not. Nothing we do is perfect in this world, I don't think. But if I had a team with the values and the integrity of the brilliant small team I've got at the moment, who are amazing, I think we could do really special things. I think we could really change the future course, and of how people live in North Wales, and make a real difference. So I think I'd have a magic team that would be like fairies across North Wales, that would, or Wales potentially, that would really, because I'm a firm believer in, we can change the system. And I wouldn't want to change the system with that wand, because I think the joy of changing the system and seeing it happen is creating those movements for change. And actually that commitment of people to do that together is something quite special. So I wouldn't want to rob the joy of doing that with a wand, but I'd want to just give people an opportunity to connect into this work, because it's quite special, and I feel very, very lucky to be able to work in this space. So I think I would give as many people as possible a role to support food poverty, fuel poverty, tackling health inequalities, listening to stories with children, young people, looked after children, doing all these children's university, doing masterclasses that make a difference to people, giving opportunities to people that just never had them in the past. That's what I do. I just have a brilliant team that does brilliant work and just helps people of North Wales. That's what I do.
Oh, sounds fantastic.
Sounds quite utopian.
Well, it's a magic wand, and we can dream. We can dream. Yeah. So you've talked a lot about your team and about the amazing stuff that you're doing in your university. Are there other people who are doing really great work elsewhere that you're really impressed with?
Yeah, I think across the UK or in Wales.
Yeah, or the world. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. There's somebody's, and it's I work with a brilliant guy from Audit Wales, and he gave me a link called to Montredon University, I think it is, which is in, I want to say, the Basque region, or it might be Britain, I'm not sure. But I think they've got a really unusual approach about how they connect to communities to grow, like the university as a sort of social enterprise, to sort of bring and harbour the energies of the community to make a difference. And I feel like that's the journey we're on. So again, it's one of those things that I've been given the link and I should be reading it, but I haven't had a chance yet, but it looks really exciting. And I think, who else? There's always, I think we did an event with Scotland and Wales. We said we worked with Cardiff, and we said, let's share some of the stuff we're doing, because actually we want to learn from other areas, because the UK Civic Mission Research Network, UK Civic Mission Network for universities, we brought Scotland, Glasgow and Edinburgh, and there's some, interesting things that they're doing there as well. And I think it's interesting to see the different political context in which you're operating and how much that hinders or helps you. And I think in Wales, we're incredibly fortunate that the Future Generations Act gives us a real powerful framework to use. Whether people are using that in the right way, arguably, is debatable, but I think we are, and I never profess to be, again, perfect at any of this. But I think learning from others allows you to shape what you do, but also the gift of learning is a thing that you want to take and give as well. So I think that was a really good time. And I'd like to see that we would try and measure that should have been a one, shouldn't it? How we measure civic mission, because once we measure it and it's quantifiable, we might get more money. But there we go. Yeah, it's
a tricky one, isn't it? There's always that, if you start to measure it and quantify it, do you lose some of the magic?
Yeah. So I mean, there is a magicness about it, but I'll send the link to the Montredon University.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant.
You can put it in the tracks. It does look really fascinating for anyone that's interested in a university really being part of a place and space.
Excellent. So I think it just remains to say thank you very much for coming along and chatting with me today, Nina. If anybody wants to find out more about the work you're doing, where would you send them?
We've got a website, so we have now got a Twitter account. We've got a website, so if you just Google Civic Mission Wrexham Glyndŵr or Wrexham University, it will come up. We've got a website which you can connect in, and all my email contact details will be there. And I've got a really small and brilliant and perfectly formed team that will help if you want to find out more.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening to Research Adjacent. You can find show notes and other episodes at researchadjacent.com. I would absolutely love to hear what you think of the show, so please get in touch. You can drop us a message via researchadjacent.com or find us on social media at resadjacent. And if you've enjoyed the show, please think about sharing it, subscribing or leaving a review so that other people can find us too. Research Adjacent is presented and produced by Sarah McCluskey, and you, yes you, get a big gold star for listening right to the end. See you next time.